Yalimadat all friends online. Welcome to you all on our session today, book study, What is Soul? We are still on chapter 4 and today is our session 8. Somehow we have been doing several questions per class, but getting the feedback from friends, what I have done to just tackle one question per class. So we are going slowly, but hopefully we are having better understanding. So before we go on studying, I'm going to share a beautiful qasida with you titled Manifestations. We all understand the word manifestations. The Gujarati word is sarup. Mawla sarup laine aave છે. And we do know that how our Mawla changes the jama. He changes the manifestation. Tajalliyat. Yesterday the Tajalli was Sultan, the day before it was Alisha, and today is Shah Karim. So this is the title of this qasida, Manifestation. दिल में जब मैंने वो सनम देखा, जिसमें कुल्ली का कैफ कम देखा. When the beloved I behold in my heart, when the beloved I beheld in my heart, the universal body's quality and quantity I observed. When my beloved came, I beheld existence and non-existence together. When my beloved came, I beheld existence and non-existence together. When in my heart's eye he dwelt, I saw from the guarded tablet to the pen. When in my heart's eye he dwelt, I saw from the guarded tablet to the pen. Lightning befell my existence. Lightning befell my existence. I became non-existent. Then I beheld non-existence. I became non-existent. Then I beheld non-existence. I reflected on this non-existence. Neither fear nor grief did I witness. I reflected on this non-existence. Neither fear nor grief did I witness. The goal of merging is the source of knowledge. The goal of merging is the source of knowledge. Very few such lovers I have seen. If a godly one exists, let him hearken to my state. If a godly one exists, let him hearken to my state. I walked 2 steps and reached the sanctuary. I walked 2 steps and reached the sanctuary. Is there a tale of pain and toil? The way I have experienced both, my eye opened when I was persecuted. I hope you are listening. My eye opened when I was persecuted. I beheld the goblet of Jamshed in the heart's assembly. Now here the goblet of Jamshed is actually the cup of divination. It is the source of knowing the future, the 7 heavens, all the deeper truths and realities. And there are so many names for it. Here the name is Jame Jam. But if you were to hear Jame Jahan Ara, Jame Nama Giti Nama, Jame Ke Khusro, all these are names are actually being used by rulers of ancient Greater Iran. And if you were to read Persian stories, you will commonly hear the cup of Jamshed. In today's time, today's language, when you hear crystal ball, it is same as goblet of Jamshed. So he says, my eye opened when I was persecuted. I beheld the goblet of Jamshed in the heart's assembly. Was it the melody of the soul or its wine, in whose intoxication I heard the high and the low pitch? Since the holy prophet's light has risen over the creation, the impoverished ones have experienced generosity. It is this time is the cycle of Holy Prophet. So he refers to that cycle and says, since the Holy Prophet's light has risen over the creation, the impoverished ones have experienced generosity. In the world of knowledge and action, everywhere have I seen the esteemed King. Why should the lover of light not rejoice? Why should the lover of light not rejoice, since he has seen paradise in his imagination? How amazing the insignificant drop! How amazing this insignificant drop have I with the inner eye seen as an ocean. The reflection of the Sun of Light in the heart's world. The reflection of the Sun of Light in the heart's world. Whoever has seen it has indeed seen it at dawn, at Nurani time. What do you read of love in the Quran? What do you read of love in the Quran? The mouth in its very letters and dots have I seen. Wherever I turned my eyes, I saw the canopy and pennant of love. When the yearning for light's love arose in me, I saw the bounties of paradise in my heart. When the yearning for light's love arose in me, I saw the bounties of paradise in my heart. It is the shadow of light, not Nasir. It is the shadow of light, not Nasir, when he saw that beloved in the heart. Beautiful Qasida, full of secrets of Imam actually. It is only those who read carefully, reflect carefully, will be able to realize how the writer is talking about himself. And surely this is Allama Nasiruddin Hunzai. And I'm going to sing few verses. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ali Allah madad farma. दिल में जब मैंने वो सनम देखा, दिल में जब मैंने वो सनम देखा, जिसमें कुल्ली का कैफ कम देखा, दिल में जब मैंने वो सनम देखा, मेरे चश्मों चिराग जब आए, मेरे चश्मों चिराग जब आए, हस्तियों नीसती वहम देखा, हस्तियों नीसती वहम देखा, जब मेरे दिल की आँख में वो बसे, जब मेरे दिल की आँख में वो बसे, लोहे महफूज था कलम देखा, दिल में जब मैंने वो सनम देखा. देखा, मेरी हस्ती पे भर के नूर गिरी, मेरी हस्ती पे भर के नूर गिरी, मैं हुआ नीस्त अदम देखा, मैं हुआ नीस्त अदम देखा, मैंने इस नीस्ती पे गौर किया, मैंने इस नीस्ती पे गौर किया, ना कोई खौफ है ना गम देखा, ना कोई खौफ है ना गम देखा, आशिके नूर क्यों न शाद रहे, आशिके नूर क्यों न शाद रहे, जब तख़य्युल में ही इरम देखा, जब तख़य्युल ही में इरम देखा, ये ताजुब की ज़ाती क़तराए हीज, ये ताजुब की ज़ाती क़तराए हीज, चश्मे बातिन से मैंने यम देखा, चश्मे बातिन से मैंने यम देखा, अक्से खुर्शीद नूर आलम दिल, अक्से खुर्शीद नूर आलम दिल, जिसने देखा है सुबह दम देखा, जिसने देखा है सुबह दम देखा, जिस तरफ भी मेरी निगाह गई, जिस तरफ भी मेरी निगाह गई, इश्क ख़ैमा अलम देखा, इश्क ख़ैमा अलम देखा, जब मुझे ज़ौक़-ए इश्क़ नूर मिला, जब मुझे ज़ौक़-ए इश्क़ नूर मिला, दिल में फ़िरदौस के नियम देखा, दिल में फ़िरदौस के नियम देखा, साया-ए इश्क़ है नसीर नहीं, साया-ए इश्क़ है नसीर नहीं, दिल में जब उसने वो सनम देखा, दिल में जब उसने वो सनम देखा, जिसमें कुल्ली का कैफ कम देखा, दिल में जब मैंने वो सनम देखा, दिल में जब मैंने वो सनम देखा। शुक्रिल्लाह वल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, शुक्रिल्लाह वल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, शुक्रिल्लाह वल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we are going to study the question number 69. Question number 69 is about standing up of hair, goosebumps. We all have experienced that. The question says, standing up of hair or shivering is also mentioned in Qur'an 39/23. And sometimes we also observe it in our own selves, in others too. Is there any spiritual cause for it other than the external cause? If any, please explain. So Allama Sahib, Allama Nasiruddin Hunzai is giving us the answer. And surely we will discuss it in detail. So the first thing he mentions in the answer is the external causes. When our hair stands up, someone shivers, it is due to two reasons. Either someone is experiencing extreme severe cold, or there is a intense fear felt. Due to both of these conditions, we will experience this condition goosebumps, or the hair or on our skin all stand up. And he explains that is due to the innumerable particles in our skin, the innumerable particles of the animal souls which our body is filled with. And when these particles of soul experience this unbearable or unpleasant condition, they become disturbed, restless, and therefore they wake up from their peaceful sleep and move into their right position, and they stand up. So this is, we all have experienced, this is the physical reason. Now let us study this verse which he mentions here in Quran. But before we go there, this is our skin cell. This is the anatomical picture of cell. What we see is outside our hair. This hair follicle inside, there's a cell here. And as we have discussed in the beginning of this book, that every cell has a soul, but it is in a frozen state. The life surely comes to that soul through the soul, but soul is invisible. But it is there providing life to the cell, but in a frozen state. It's not conscious, it's not awakened. But whenever the fear is experienced, these souls get disturbed, and suddenly the hair stand up. And we all experience this in winter. Mostly we experience this condition, goosebumps. So Allah has mentioned in chapter 39, verse 23, that Allah has sent down the best statement. Allah has sent down the best statement, a consistent book wherein is reiteration. The skin shivers therefrom of those who fear their Lord. Then their skins and their hearts relax at the remembrance of Allah. That is the guidance of Allah by which He guides whom He wills. And one whom Allah leaves astray, for him there is no guide. अल्लाह ताला ने बेहतरीन कलाम नाजिल फरमाया है जो ऐसी किताब है कि आपस में मिलती जुलती और बार बार दोहराई हुई आयतों की है, जिससे इन लोगों के रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं जो अपने रब का खौफ रखते हैं। आखिर में उनके जिस्म और दिल अल्लाह ताला के जिक्र की तरफ नर्म हो जाते हैं। ये है अल्लाह ताला की हिदायत, जिसके जरिए जिसे चाहे राह रास्त पर लगा देता है, और जिसे अल्लाह राह भुला दे उसका कोई हादी नहीं। So in this verse there are few key points which we'll discuss. The first, Allah mentions here consistent book. Now we understand the book, the Quran. Why the word consistent? What does that mean? And we do know that there are two books actually. One is Kitab-e-Samit, another is Kitab-e-Nati, the silent book and the speaking book. So when the word consistent is mentioned here, the silent book, the book is book. There is no inconsistency as per se. So the book here refers to something else too. Then it talks about reiteration. There is so much of repetition in the Quran, a lot of repetition. But then he mentions that those mu'mineen, surely it is about mu'mineen, because worldly people fear people, which is the fear of people. It is called khawf-e-beja, or what people would say, I don't want to wear this, or I don't want to do that, people will judge me, or whatever reasons. Those are worldly people. They care about worldly people's judgment. They fear the worldly people. But mu'mineen always fear only their Lord. And here mu'mineen are mentioned in this verse. These mu'mineen who fear their Lord, their skin shivers. They experience these goosebumps. And then their skin and their heart experience this relaxed, calm feeling. Why? Through remembrance of Allah. So as soon as they fear their Lord inside their body, their skin shivers. But then they are doing the zikr, so they calm down too. So in other words, it's all happening inside the moment. Nobody else can know it. It's very quietly happening within the moment's body and in personal world of human moments. And then surely Allah guides whom He wills. Again, let's talk about this skin. Skin being the largest organ in our body. Skin is the largest part of our body. It is like we are wearing a shawl or a cover on our body, covering all what is inside with our skin. And this shawl or cloth, whatever you want to call it, has holes in it, dot, 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 all over our skin. And through those pores, these hair follicles come out. And our body is covered with these hair follicles. When we look inside our body, we have learned from the beginning study of this book in the beginning that surely when a child is born, there is a mineral soul, vegetative soul, and animal soul. And eventually he gets to the human soul, the intellect, the rational soul. But if we were to take example of ours, we have innumerable animal soul. All of our body, the skin, it's covered with this animal soul. The state of these souls, they're all sleeping. Surely when one experiences intense fear, what happens? If there is somehow this realization of fear, a person without thinking would start running. Why? These animal souls will wake up and instincts will overpower. Run, because there's a fear. The whole body will respond. The first experience is of goosebumps. All the hairs are standing, and then the processes, the decision making happens. But all these animal souls, when they get disturbed, restless, they wake up and all the hairs stand up, and then sequence of reaction happens in our body. But we are just staying here, the goosebumps. Why are they sleeping? All these cells are, these souls are sleeping. Now, when we realize that there are so many souls in our body and they are sleeping, and how do we awaken them? We studied in great detail Dua-e-Nur. And very interestingly, in Dua-e-Nur, we ask for light in 16 directions. And one of the direction is skin, though we start from the heart. So when a child is born in a Momin family, smiley family, the child is taught the religion through blind faith. So he or she has this faith at a blind faith level, and the child goes to Jamaat Khana and does the Kirya and whatnot. But when the rational soul is there, this human, this child is growing up and they are seeking light now, intentionally, with realization. The first entrance is our ears. And let me explain a little bit ears so we'll understand skin better. When a child is born, and if there is no human around him, like let's say this example of this child who was Tarzan, he was somehow in jungle when he was born, no human spoke to him. So when he grew up, he did not know how to talk. It's not that he didn't have the power of speech, but he did not listen. The Ruhe Natika never entered through his ears. The first soul which enters actually in child's body, in Momin also, it is through ears. And why did I say Momin? When we go in Imam's presence to get Isme Azam, when Imam gives the Isme Azam, that light enters through our ears. This is the first entrance. So this child who has never heard any human being, he will never be able to speak. And that is why in Quran, there is a beautiful verse in chapter 2, it talks about Sumun Bukmun Umyun Fahum La Yarjun. Sumun Bukmun Umyun Fahum La Yarjun. That they are deaf, dumb, and blind. Now, if we take this example of a child, this Tarzan child, he was not dumb. But the reason he could not speak the language, because he never heard. He never heard a human. So in other words, what we are saying, that why is this the first entrance? It is when this door opens up, the light enters through this door, when a moment is listening with intent, the true knowledge, then reading true knowledge, then only these doors open up. The first door is ear. Ruhe Natika, the soul of a prophet, has to enter. How? Through true knowledge. So when this door is open, Allahumma ja'alli nuran fi qalbi, for nuran fi samai, nuran fi basari, then the eyes. So if one is reading, they are taking the light, absorbing the light through their eyes. They are not only using one sense. That's why I humbly encourage everyone to read. It is important to use our eyes to just not listen, read. And then only the tongue will speak. This is very important to realize, those who are seekers of light, that first you listen, you read, then only the words will come to your mouth. Otherwise, these words will not come out. If you keep listening, you're using one sense. The light will enter here, the light has to enter here too. And then you will realize how the light has entered, because you will hear yourself saying things, which is, I can talk about myself. It's sometimes I feel it's not me who's talking. So where these words are coming from? It is only Imam's mercy. It's not my ability that I can speak such words. And then only you can hear things, words, light coming to your tongue. And then it goes to hair. Now hair, what function does hair have? But yes, it does. We seek light for our hair. And then comes the skin. So this is what we are talking about today. We are talking about how spiritually the light enters our hair and our skin. What is the function? We never thought about nur being in hair and skin. So how is it happening? And why does only Mu'minin experience it? Quran talks about it, so surely it is true, because Mu'minin are there who fear their Lord, so they experience this goosebumps. So when Mu'minins are experiencing this, what is happening? All these sleeping souls, which are there in the hair follicles, at the level of hair, they are waking up. The blind faith is no more blind faith. There has begun a change already. The light has already been started to enter through ear, through eyes, through tongue. Doing of zikr, giryazari, learning this difficult Quranic zikr and saying it, that is the indication of light from the tongue. It doesn't happen automatically. It requires work. When a moment is doing that, surely the next step is the light enters through hair as well as the skin. Now light enters from outside or inside the soul's wake up. Isn't that interesting to realize? So skin has its own light. And let's take the example of the hair on our face, our skin, okay, face. When a Mu'min and Salik who is doing the zikr ibadat, Azari, watching his or her deeds, you will see their face looking different than other individuals. Why? There's this radiation of rays of light from their face. How does that happen? It is due to the awakening of those souls which were in sleeping state. And when those souls are awakened, what happens? There is yearning inside, seeking the beloved. And that results in the standing up of hair, shivering. If you are listening to a beautiful lecture, true knowledge, listening to a Giryazari, and you experience something in your body, a shake, a jhatka, a shiver, whatever you want to call it, that moment right there and there, a sleeping soul woke up. And it is not due to fear or cold. It is due to the light entering and awakening that soul up. And that happens when there is abundance of zikr, abundance of attempt at least to study, to read, to listen, try. And surely with all these practices, the heart becomes tender and soft. What does that mean, heart becoming tender and soft? It opens up. It starts absorbing what is being given to that moment. Otherwise, when the heart is rock, like solid like rock, nothing will enter, nothing will grow in that heart. Mawla Sultan Muhammad Shah said in his Farman that when I give Farman, I actually give you pearls and gems. It is only in the soft heart, the earth which is soft, ready to absorb. On those heart, there will be growth, plantation. Meaning that soft, tender heart will start reflecting, absorbing, understanding, and surely awakening and feeling this yearning in the heart because the cells, every soul which is in the cells is waking up. So this frozen soul or frozen light on skin, we all have this skin, but the cells, the souls which are in the cells, they are frozen. And we talked about the face. Now let's talk about Adam. It is said that Adam, when he entered in the paradise, he entered in the image of the compassionate. Surat-e-Rahman, his face was like the Lord, Rahman. So who is Rahman in current time? We are not talking about the abstract light. We can only talk about the embodied light, the embodied mood, because we can see, we can listen, we can feel. Imam is present. So when Adam entered the paradise, he entered in the image of the compassionate, Surat-e-Rahman. How did Adam do that? Adam was simply mustajib. But we know the story of Adam, that the way he worked on his Isme Azam, he was able to get light in all 16 directions. And here we are focusing on the face only. The light on the face, the skin, full of light, so much so, the face changed. It became the surat, the image of the compassionate. There was no distinction between the Mu'min and the Lord. It was all one. So at a higher, very higher level, this is the majiza of the standing of these goosebumps in a spiritual sense. When a faithful Mu'min, who's doing zikr, giryazar, remember when I say Mu'min, it's a very particular term. Though in Jamaat Khana, if we see anybody, everybody, Jamaat Ismaili members, we will call them Mu'mins. But in reality, in its true sense, one cannot become a Mu'min if they are not even a Mustajib. It is Mustajib and higher rank, they are the only ones who are true Mu'min in true sense, in particular sense. In general sense, anybody can call anybody Mu'min. So here when we talk of a true mu'min who's faithful servant, when he or she smiles, why? Because they realize the knowledge when they are studying Quran, they are listening to zikr, ibadat, in their being when they realize some point, there is a smile on their face because there is understanding. And that smile is the indication that the wave of light entered in them. The wave of the light entered on their face. And you witness it. When you see it, you witness it. And then when you see a fortunate moment who do Giryazari, shedding tears in Imam's love, only for the sake of pleasure of Rizwan, his Imam, the Holy Prophet. Why? To receive the light. There's this wave of very powerful light which is experienced when a moment is doing Giryazari. Giryazari is a very powerful ibadat. It brings revolution in the personal world. There are no words one can emphasize the importance of Giryazari. Giryazari is a shortcut in learning knowledge, in decreasing the gap. When Mawla says that link by link by link you can climb up, you can connect to the nur of the Allah. Giryazari makes the speed very fast, very fast. And then lastly, when this experience of shivering happens to a moment in Salik, it has the healing properties to it. There is a miracle of healing for physical ailments as well as spiritual ailments. Why? Because there is all these souls which were sleeping, they wake up. When they're awakened, and when they're awakened in the body, in the being of a moment who is already doing abundance of zikr, so he has so many angels. All these angels will take the place of these souls. And now, recall that hadith Qudsi, which says that for my moment, when he walks, I become his feet. When he moves his hands, I become his hands. When he talks, I speak from him. So for that moment, surely the miracle of healing happens inside and outside. Let's see beautifully what our peers have taught us. Jire vira rome rome maro shah vase ane antar nahi ik dil. एवो जानीने भक्ताई कीजिए शाह पर तक बैठा दिल. Dear brothers, within every hair of my body my Lord resides, and is not remote even by a distance of one grain of sesame, not sure, grain of simsim. By regarding him thus, perform your devotions. The Lord is present and seated in the heart. Those who know Gujarati, they would know the word partak, partaksh. Partak literally means that if I'm sitting here, you are sitting here, we are seeing each other. It is not in the heart. It is in reality, it is a vision. It is a higher level of didar. It is the Nurani didar. That a mu'min experiences the didar of the Imam at the highest level. When does that happen? Rome Marushahvasi. Pir is clearly telling us about his success. That I have gone through this Qiyamah of waking up each particle, each soul in my body is awake. And at every particle there is an angel sitting doing zikr. I have had this revolution in my being. And now, Shah Partak Betha Dil. And then he says Dil too, surely. Heart's eyes are there too. But if you understand the word Partak, it tells you much more than just Betha Dil. So, Our peers have actually given us the talimat from the Quran. But because the Jamaat was not at that stage, that they did not know Quran, so peers have given very limited knowledge in Ginan about Quran. But it is the knowledge of Quran. How easy today, through understanding one verse of Quran in great detail with its ta'wil, we are able to love and understand this verse much more and know about our peer too, how elevated he was. And at the same time, I can tell that we can apply this theory vice versa. Reading the book of Allama Nasiruddin Hunzai, who was he? Knowing all these things. Now again, we come back to this verse and the key points we need to understand at a higher level. The consistent book here surely refers to Imam too, because Imam is the speaking book. But when it talks about reiteration, actually it also refers, in its ta'wil is also at a higher level, is Isme Azam, which we repeat. Isme Azam is the praise of Imam. That word, which is a supreme name of the Imam, has all the beauties and the miracles of the Imam, Quran, you name it. Everything is encompassed in that one word. If we are able to complete that word, it is difficult, but not impossible. Imam will not give anything impossible to his moment. He is a merciful Mawla. When a Mu'min Salik meets all the conditions which are supposed to be met, that Isme Azam becomes living, talking being. Isme Azam in itself is a speech of God, which is repeated as remembrance. And those Zakirin is from the word zikr. The one who does the zikr are called Zakirin, the plural of Zak, people who are doing zikr, Zakirin. So those who stay in remembrance, surely they fear God. And when they fear while remembrance, what happens? Their skins have this goosebump, this shiver, this shake, because they experience this intense, powerful feeling, light entering, souls awakening in their body. And then because they are zakirin, their skins and their heart will find this relaxed and calm state. So sometimes, I must tell you this, that there are times when you try and sit and do zikr with very intensity, with full focus, like Imam says, with choksai. And suddenly some can experience this fear in the heart. And one can say it, oh, probably I'm feeling anxious, ghabrahat ho rahi hai, or I'm feeling restless. Actually, that is the time that your being is experiencing that fear of the Lord, the power of the light, the power of the supreme name. And remember that do not be staying in that state of fear and become like, stop, because I'm experiencing this. I'm scared. I don't need to stop. I'm restless. I need to do something. No, you do not need to do anything. Continue to remember. Pass through that stage. You pass through that difficult period because souls are awakening. We are not used to it. So when the souls are awakened, it brings this restlessness in our being. It can happen in ibadat, it can happen during zikr and girya uzari. Go through that state and you will reach in few minutes this state of very peaceful being, peaceful experience, relaxed, calmness. And that calmness can only be achieved if you stay in remembrance. Don't break it. Whatever you feel, don't judge it. Stay in complete acceptance, detached from the judgment. Stay with your objective, your goal of doing zikr, and come out of that phase to the phase of peacefulness, rest, and experience the joy and happiness. So I'll stop here if anyone has any question. So I see a question here. How do you know if it is an awakening and not just feeling cold? You will know. If you are in a surrounding where air condition is very high, the temperatures are low, you will know. And the other indication, which is very clear, you're not doing zikr. So when you experience this awakening, you are doing zikr, you're doing riyazari, you're doing something to realize that it is awakening. Second question I see, is there any higher form of shivering due to spiritual cause? Surely there is. Very interesting that you ask this question. So Quran also mentions zalzala, quake, like we know about earthquake. A mu'min salik, if he stays on this journey, there can be a time when a mu'min can experience in his or her being this quake, this zalzala, which purifies the being, because the body suddenly, due to whatever reason, whatever zikr was going on, it caused that moment to have this shakes in the body. And because of those shakes, there is immediate and intense purification. There is an awakening of the souls at a higher level, at a mass level. And that moment as Salik experiences that shakes as if his body is having earthquake. But it is a spiritual experience which can be seen physically because it is happening physically. And Quran surely talks about it. In Dua Nur, light comes in one direction and then other. How does it happen? So it does not happen like that. The light can come one by one, but it is very rare to see like that. Light comes from different direction at the same time actually. How does it happen? When you are listening to this lecture, your ears are receiving knowledge, light through your ears. When then you read, then you do zikr. So you're walking on this path and you're trying to walk in this journey. So it happens from several directions that the light enters. So it is very difficult when you're walking on this path. It is important to stay detached from the judgment, what you are doing, how you are doing, if you're succeeding in or not. It's not a good thing. It's good to stay in acceptance and stay detached. Just do it because you know it's the right thing to do. After some time, when you look back, you will know exactly what had happened, how the light had entered you. But if you keep on checking yourself right now in terms of entering light or progress, it's not a good habit, because a moment has to stay humble. A moment has to stay detached. Remember that struggle is our duty, victory and defeat is in the hands of God. If we don't understand what is happening in our being, we may experience despondency. And when we are walking on the true path and doing what is we are expected to do in true sense with true knowledge, remember true knowledge is very important, not blind faith. If you are doing those things, then have faith and patience. Patience is important virtue for a moment. Detach yourself from any evaluation of progress. Just do it. And surely you will know your progress because you are progressing, you will know it, but not right there and there. So in other words, what I'm saying, that the light enters through several directions. You may not know it at that time. You do not need to know at that time. Continue to walk further and then look back, and then you'll know it exactly how, which event and what had happened. Can zikr be done even if you are not concentrating? Yes, it can be done. It depends at what stage you are at. All right, and then, is this possible during ibadat? Example, tears in the eyes? Yes, very much possible. Giryazari is possible in every time. It's not that you are intentionally shedding tears. It is the experience of awakening in the soul. It is the experience of light entering. It is experience of intense love. It is experience of pressures of angels on your being. There are so many reasons that tears are being shed. So it's not that you intentionally are shedding tears. In the beginning, it's a practice. And in the beginning, what I normally recommend, suggest that it is good to recall the difficulties one has passed through. Recall the time of difficulties and do Giryazari because it is very hard. One of the important dua which we always have to ask to Mawla Bapa, that Mawla teach us your love, because how does lover, when they miss each other, they cry, they shed tears. I wish I was that lover. So we need to always pray for Mawla's love. When a moment has Mawla's love, it is easier to shed tears. But in the beginning, if you do intense zikr in quantity, let's say during the daytime you're practicing on your Isma Azam and you're doing this zikr in quantity on Isma Azam, you might experience shedding of tears if you are really detaching yourself from everything, anything around you and focusing completely. I love the word Mawla says, choksaise. Very focused zikr when you do, you can experience shedding of tears during ibadat. It is very much possible. Okay, I did answer this question, but I see again this question. Are the 16 directions of light showing the different darjat or receiving nur through 16 directions happens simultaneously? It is related to darjat, no doubt about it. It is related to darjat, but it does also happen simultaneously. Let's take the example of Adam. Adam was mustajib. He was a very pious moment. When he got his Isma Azam, only in 40 mornings, he did his ibadat and he became successful. So for a person like Adam, it must have happened simultaneously. For a poor person like me, it may happen one by one.
I had a question for you. You know, when you're talking of people who have passed into the next hereafter, when you're talking about them, you get a lot of goosebumps. That's one thing. The other one is when you have, whether it's smiley or non-smiley, when you're having a positive conversation, often either yourself or the other person would say, "Oh my God, I just got goosebumps." What does that mean?
Good, actually, you reminded me of something else too. I should mention. So, experience of goosebumps when you are not doing zikr, but something else. So, you said very important word, keyword was positive conversation. Or another example is that you listen to very soulful music being played, or soulful voice. When you hear this Israfili music, Israfil is the angel of love. And when you hear those kind of voices singing, something happens in your being and you start, this shiver, this goosebumps. Surely it is the experience of that positivity or that soulful music which touches those souls, sleeping souls, and they wake up and you experience that. So, yes, that happens. I saw another question here. Is the zikr fruitful if we cannot concentrate on zikr while working? So, remember, practice makes man perfect. If you're working and if you're doing zikr, alhamdulillah, please continue. It's okay if you can't concentrate, because that time is not of concentration. You are working, you got to concentrate on your work. But if you are doing zikr at the same time, surely continue to do that. The benefit is lower because you are just doing it, it's a lip service, but it is okay. Something is better than nothing. To reach to Ajampya Jap, the practice starts at the physical level. Physical is the door to batin. Everything has to start at the physical level. So surely even while working, continue to do zikr. Any other question?
Is there a progression in goosebumps? Anything higher than goosebumps?
Yeah, I did mention about the quack, right?
Oh, just okay, the quack. Okay.
Yeah. So because
Okay.
goosebump is still limited, quack is like the whole being is shaking.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, Ma. Thank you for
याली
joining.
मदद नियामत बेटा याली मदद મોલા તું અમને સમજાવી છે ને બહુ જ નોલેજ મળે છે શુકર મોલા તારી બધી સેવા કબૂલ કરે સુખી સલામત નાબાદ રાખે વધારે સેવા કરવા હિંમત શક્તિ પ્રેરણા બક્ષે અમને બી અમને હકીકતે સમજ આપે કે અમે આ ગેઇન એબ્ઝોર્બ કરી શકીએ અને સિરાતલ મુસ્તકીમ ઉપર કે ઘણું બધું જાણવા મળે છે ને હજી થેન્ક યુ શુકર મોલા અલ્લાહ બેલી
Amin. Allah be. Yali madad, yali madad.
मदद नियामत how are you?
शुक्र मौला मुगीरा, याली मदद, याली मदद.
बहुत जरूरी है ये जो आपने आज समझाया ये बहुत बहुत जरूरी था बहुत लोगों के लिए तो थैंक यू सो मच थैंक यू
शुक्र मौला.
याली मदद
याली मदद,
शुक्र
याली
मौला.
मदद.